I really do think even my best relationships are people I've struggled with, people I've been through the fire with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For yourself, it sounds like you've been really thoughtful about this. Do you have an idea of what ceremony or a rite of passage for men would look like in the modern day?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'll start by saying, like, that is how men bond. We bond by going through the shit.
Yes.
And the reason is because you go through hell with another man, I can trust you.
Yes.
You got me.
Yes.
You look at, like, the Spartans. Why were the Spartans so indomitable? It's because they knew without a shadow of a doubt that the man next to them would die for them.
Right.
And they loved each other. This is like a really interesting concept. You had the fiercest warriors on earth, but they loved each other.
Yeah.
So it's like when you love somebody and you're willing to die from them, a lot different than an army who's just kind of like loosely held
100%.
together, right? So I didn't have a rite of passage growing up. And so I almost formed my own. It's actually like what my tattoo is. I was very blessed during COVID. Everyone else was in lockdown. I decided to go tree planting in BC.
Cool.
So tree planting, I've worked on oil rigs, I've done snow removal. Tree planting is technically rated as the hardest work in Canada.
Oh, wow.
It's hell. And there's 3 components to a rite of passage.
Right.
And specifically for a male rite of passage, we look at separation, passing through a threshold, and integration. So separation would traditionally be separation from the maternal or the Maya, the veil of safety or the veil of illusion. And so a lot of the ways that this would be done is it starts to generally happen when a boy's about 12, 13. This is where you start to see this second testosterone spike in life. You start to see them walking a little taller. They want to individuate themselves. They start to have a little bit of hubris. And the entire village is in on this. In the middle of the night, the men come and they steal the boys away.
Oh, cool.
And the women go, no, don't take my son. Don't take my son.
Right.
And you take him out into the woods. So it's separation from that veil of safety. And you would usually be in the woods for about 4 days fasting. Almost like a vision quest, but separate. And the men are still nearby. They're watching over you. They're making sure you're not going to die. But when you start to develop this like sense of hubris and that I'm puffing out my chest, well, you're scared, you're alone in the woods, and you don't have light pollution. And so every night you're looking up at the stars and you're literally seeing that in the scope of the cosmos, you are small. There is something so grand. And through this combination of space and fasting, you start to develop a sense of what your purpose could be. You're now passing through this threshold of being a boy into being a man. And adolescence traditionally didn't exist. Adolescence is a byproduct of the industrial school system. It does not exist in indigenous cultures.
Right.
And so once you pass through that threshold, you now have a sense of your calling, a sense of your purpose. You've been humbled, and you integrate back into your village, into your community, understanding that your purpose and your calling is to serve them through what your gifts might be.
Yes.
And then you're surrounded by men and women and a community who slowly gives you responsibility, who understands that you're going to fail and supports you in your learning as you fail, and then allows you to mature and integrate into being this full-fledged adult. And by the time you're 16, 17, you're way, way more capable than most 30 or 40-year-olds in our modern society.
100%.
You've got solid integrity, you've got solid character. So I didn't have that. And it's been very, very loosely put together. Like, I did my rite of passage, but I'm actually just kind of right now going through what I would call my initiation in the women's lodge. So most children, they would spend their formative years with their women, with the elders, understanding their integral role in the community, how they are really important in terms of governance, in terms of resource management. And that's actually been kind of the last few months for me, is interfacing with a lot of the amazing women in my life and asking them about their experiences about being mothers, because I didn't have that.
100%.
Going through rugby culture, that wasn't encouraged. Even just like, man, you look at porn in society today, I didn't understand what sexual integrity, what sexual control and maturity was.
Right.
When you're starting to interface with another human being and like engage in what can be the most deeply intimate and spiritually connective act you could ever do. And, you know, I've done a lot of things I'm not happy about.
Right.
It's been a lot of hard fucking learning lessons. But through that, that's what tree planting was for me, man.
Right.
Tree planting was leaving the safety of living with my mom and my grandmother, being in the woods for 3 months
Yeah.
with no cell service. So normally,
Wow.
right, normally days off, we go into town.
Yeah.
It's COVID. We don't go into town.
Oh, wow.
We're in the woods, no cell service for 3 months. And it's hell, man. The bugs every single day, waking up,
Right.
pounding trees into the ground. And like one of the only ways I got through was my buddy kind of sending me stoic quotes and other stuff like that. But I came back and it was like, okay, man, like I pushed myself through this.
Yeah.
I still have my shovel on my wall, just like as a reminder of what I could push myself through.
Yeah.
And I came back with like, dude, like that was hell. Your role is to create beauty in the world, man.
Yeah.
Like you want to create beauty. You want to be an artist.
Right.
And that could be through your work. That could be through service to your community. I have a huge passion for forest conservation, just regenerative agriculture, vitality, things like this.
Very cool.
You know, being healthy. So those were all components of my rite of passage, and traditionally what many cultures would consider a formal rite of passage.
Right.
And so you can also have it, you know, you can have initiation from boy to a man, from a girl to a woman, but you can also have rites of passage at any stage of life.
Right.
You know, like you changed careers. You
Yes.
said you left this corporate world to start your own business.
Right.
Well, that is separation from this veil of safety to pass through this threshold to then integrate into something that's way more purposeful,
Right.
way more beautiful for you, right? And we can have these little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I love all of that. And I love how in that rite of passage, integrated within that is purpose, is service, is being a steward of your environment or of your tribe or of your village. And I think that's what a lot of men lack today is purpose. You know, like you're going through the grind of everyday life for what? To buy a car that's nicer than the other guy's car so you can, again, puff your chest out like the person who hasn't gone through the rite of passage. It's such an interesting concept, man. Like,